This is what $10 worth of groceries looks like. That's it. Grapes were half off. I don't know what the world's coming to.
You want to know what ruffles my feathers is groceries are so dang expensive. I have a family of 4 and I probably spend at least $200 a week on groceries alone. What is happening? And by the end of the week, we're ready to go back to the store because our fridge is about empty and my kids are fruit fiends. So yeah, I just bought bulk of strawberries at Aldi because they're 99 cents today. I practically have to take out a dang loan every month just to go grocery shopping. It's absolutely insane.
I just got done grocery shopping at Walmart. Walmart is supposed to be a relatively cheap place to get your groceries from, which is why I shop there pretty often. Do you guys know how expensive hamburger meat is now? It is literally almost $8 for 1 pound, and it doesn't matter what kind of hamburger you're getting. It doesn't matter if it's the 75-25, the 85-15 lean. Like, it doesn't matter what kind you get. It's all almost $8, which is insane because my mom used to tell me when I first moved out of the house and was purchasing things on my own, she was like, just always have hamburger because hamburger is so inexpensive. You can pick it up. You can make so much with it. $8 is actually crazy. Like, that adds up so freaking fast. My groceries weren't that expensive. Like, I was adding them up. I'm like, okay, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. I added my hamburger and my price skyrocketed. That's freaking crazy. What are we doing? What is this economy that we are all living in right now? It makes me so mad. Like, no one can afford to live. Hamburger is so expensive, and that is supposed to be one of the most easily accessible meats. Oh.
So do you think Trump got the note? Did you see on the news today that groceries were up to 33%, the highest price in over 50 fucking years? And this son of a bitch has the nerve to say, prices are going down, we're doing great. I get so sick and tired of hearing this, how great we're all doing. Has this guy ever shopped for groceries? I don't think so. 33 fucking percent it's up. 33%. So Donald Trump, I hope somebody shares this to him. Maybe you better listen to the people that help get you into office. Because they're fucking struggling, they can't afford to feed their fucking children. And you keep, you just over there at the Chevy dealership just a couple days ago and replacing all your fucking cars with brand new Escalades because you people in your group, they all like to ride in style. Well, ain't that nice? You're riding around in fucking Escalades and we got people eating all these Fruit Loops because that's all they can afford. All these Fruit Loops. Would you ever eat that? No. You've never shopped. You've never cooked. You just sit around being hand-served food, catered to, living a life of luxury, mocking and laughing at all the people that voted you in. Shame on you. Shame on you.
I want to start with something that probably sounds small. Someone skips breakfast. Then they skip lunch too, and they tell themselves it's fine. They're just not that hungry today. That's how this usually starts. Not with a dramatic moment, just a quiet decision made in a kitchen, over and over, until it becomes a pattern. And right now, that pattern is showing up in millions of American households at the same time.
Am I the only one who spends $300 on groceries, orders them online, has them delivered to the house, puts them up, and then I'm too exhausted to cook, so I want to order out? Surely I'm not the only one. So yeah, I budget $300 every 2 weeks for groceries. We are a family of 5. I order online and I get it delivered from Walmart. I feel like that helps me stay in budget. And so that's the easiest way to do it for me. And it's a lot less hassle because I do not like to go grocery shopping. Now I do shop our kitchen first, have an idea of what we're going to eat for the next 2 weeks. And then I usually end up ordering all of the same stuff anyways. Every once in a while, I'll have to add something in like essentials that has ran out from, the month before or stuff like that. So let me know in the comments how much you budget, how big your family size is. Do you write everything down? Like, do you make a list before you go? Do you do online shopping? How do you do it? What stores do you shop at? You know, locally we only have Walmart and HEB. I love each one for certain reasons, but HEB unfortunately doesn't do home delivery, so that's why we usually stick to Walmart.
What's up, you guys? It's your girl Coco Filipina, and I just wanted to show you guys, it's a sign of the times. Just cut EBT benefits. Today they had a food line, and this is what it looks like. Hold on. The worst part about it is they don't have enough food for everyone here. And I'm literally watching people in line breaking down in tears. This is America, I guess.
Is it just me, or have groceries increased? Last week I was at Walmart. I get baby wipes because I need them for my 2 sons. Went from 98 cents to $1.17. That's like a 20-cent raise. Like, that's ridiculous. 4.5 pounds of ground beef at Walmart, $36. That was like the 70-30 fat count. Like, what did they expect us to eat with prices so insane? I know some of it's from what's going on in the Middle East and gas prices, and everybody's scared, and so they're raising prices. Well, the average American can't afford prices to go up 20 cents on everything, or $1 or more. Like it's just ridiculous. I can't even buy meat for my family.
I don't know every person's exact story here, but I do know the numbers, and they're not small. A survey of nearly 20,000 adults done by the West Health Gallup Center on Healthcare found that roughly a third of Americans, about 82 million people, have had to cut back on daily expenses just to cover healthcare bills. Some of those cutbacks were things like driving less. But 11% of everyone surveyed, close to 28 million people, said they specifically skipped meals or drove less to pay a medical bill. That's not a rounding error. That's a real chunk of the country choosing between eating and paying what they owe.
I walk into the local grocery store 2 days after this thing hits. By the way, when I go to the grocery store, some stuff that would normally be sold out is packed, left on the shelf. Now, what has this done? Well, if people have paused buying groceries, there's a problem with consumer sentiment. Normally, when oil goes up, everyone's like, well, we're going to expect inflation. Now, gas has gone up, and it is the final depression tipping point. It's the tipping point for the consumer to just go, you know what? I'm done. I'm not spending any more money.
Don't need this.
Oh, we don't need milk now? I'll be home in 5 minutes. See you soon.
And it's not just healthcare pushing people there. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York put out research this year looking at how families are handling the cost of food specifically, separate from medical bills. In February of 2026, roughly 1 in 10 households told researchers they were skipping meals because of what food costs right now. Researchers called the increase remarkable, and that's not a word economists use lightly. We're not talking about a temporary dip during a rough month. We're talking about a shift that's been building for a while and is now showing up clearly in the data. So here's the question worth asking. Why now? Why is this getting worse instead of better?
This economy is so bad. $33 for toilet paper? We can't even afford to shit.
Like, are we dead serious right now? Like, are we dead ass? Is this real life?
Look at that. You gotta be fucking kidding us, Ruffles.
A regular Coke, 3 for $20.97. Like, actual soda, $21.
What the fuck? Used to get a whole cup.
$13.99? $14? For a gallon of orange juice? Y'all must be out of y'all. For 2 pounds of lunch meat, $23. How the hell we supposed to feed our kids on this crap?
Truly, look at this. Look how small this pack is. Seriously? That fits like in my palm. Crazy.
The grocery stores are like, it look like it haven't even been touched.
A big piece of the mechanism here traces back to a law passed last year called the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. It changed the rules for SNAP, which most of us know as food stamps. I'll be straight with you. The rule changes are a little technical, so let me put it plainly. Before, if you were an able-bodied adult without kids, you had to meet work requirements to keep your benefits, but that only applied up to age 54. The new law raised that age all the way to 64. It also narrowed exemptions that used to protect veterans and caregivers with older kids. On top of that, the law is set to cut about $186 billion in federal SNAP funding over the next several years, the largest cut to food assistance in the program's history.
Mary's Food Bank. Before they opened up at 7 o'clock, there was a line of cars that wrapped around the block. Dira in the line. She's a mother of two looking for St. Mary's help to feed her family, and this is her very first time ever in this line.
This year, everything's been so overwhelming, especially now with the EBT affecting us. Groceries in general are not the same as they used to be. And so it's become to, what do I do now? How do I support and feed my children?
What that means in real terms is that people who were getting help are losing it. Researchers at the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities estimate SNAP participation dropped by more than 4.5 million people between when the law took effect last July and this past April. We're talking about grandparents in their late 50s who suddenly have to prove they're working 80 hours a month or lose their grocery money, in a job market that isn't exactly handing out interviews to people that age.
Hi everyone, I'm Melanie Lowe with Louisiana First News, and today I'm in Zachary, where this food pantry says its shelves are running low on supplies. Now the story isn't really about the pantry itself, it's about food insecurity and why more families are needing help as grocery prices and other costs continue to rise. I'm going to be talking with people about what's driving that need, what they're seeing in the community, and why donations matter now more than ever. I'll have the full story tonight on Louisiana First News.
Good morning everyone, it's Steph from Carlisle Food Bank here. I am just coming on this morning because we need donations. I'm appealing for donations. I want to show you behind me. We have never seen this area so low and so empty. We really need your help to fill these shelves for the summer holidays. We are trying to make it really easy for you to donate, so we've got a Just Giving, which I will link, and we've got an Amazon page as well. We are more than happy to accept supermarket shops for our back door, so if you need the address, please just send us a message. And if you can, drop off any food donations, tin donations, long life food to us as well, please do that. Our address, we are on West Tower Street in Carlisle. We have a back door for delivery drop-offs, so please just get in touch if you can help. Please just come on down and help us fill these shelves up. Thank you.
Here's who that hits hardest, and who's absorbing the cost when the safety net gets smaller. Food banks are. Feeding America's CEO said publicly this year that food banks are buying record amounts of food just to keep up, and they're bracing for demand as high as what they saw during last year's government shutdown, maybe higher. That's charities and volunteers filling a gap that used to be filled by federal programs.
The price for 1 pound of ground beef is now more than the federal minimum wage, guys. How crazy is this? And like, how far are they going to let these grocery prices get before they realize that regular people can just not afford this crap? Like, right now, let's do a comparison. Let's use like a couple big chains at where I live. I'm on the West Coast. So we've got like Albertsons, we've got Vons, we've got Stater Brothers, which I think is kind of like a West Coast thing. All of those are about twice the price of an Aldi, a Walmart, a Winco, a Safeco, or a Heb, or like a Food for Less if you have that. So I will tell you that of all the places that I'm shopping right now, Aldi happens to be my favorite. And no, they don't have everything. And Aldi is like the great value brand at Walmart. And that's all they have in the whole store is the Aldi brand. So there's not as much selection, but I like a lot of the stuff that they have there. So I did a price comparison out here. Stater Brothers, which is down the street from me, has amazing butcher department. The meat department is great. So I went and bought my weekly groceries there, $240. Next week, compared it, same level of groceries, $117 at Aldi. So it's completely insane. I think these big chains like Albertsons, Vons, Staters are gonna have major financial problems in the future because you can't keep charging people double for what they can literally get across the street and have people keep paying it. Yes, in wealthy neighborhoods, people are gonna pay that. Yeah, you're still gonna have them do fine in those areas, but for the majority of Americans.
And regular people are absorbing it too, just quietly, through their wallets. A 2026 report from LendingTree found that 29% of people using Buy Now, Pay Later loans are using them for groceries. That's more than double what it was just 2 years ago. Think about that for a second. We're talking about splitting a grocery bill into 4 payments the same way you'd split the cost of a couch. Almost half of those users said they'd made a late payment in the past year, and more than half said they genuinely couldn't make ends meet without those loans. That's not convenience. That's a sign of how tight things have gotten.
It's not to give SNAP benefits to the residents of Kansas. I'm a lawyer in real life. I don't play one on television. If you live in Kansas, if you have seen the farmers in Kansas bemoaning the fact that they may lose their farms, or if you're just interested in how these SNAP benefits are going to be distributed, you need to understand what the Attorney General of Kansas has just done that's going to hurt, potentially, the citizens and residents of Kansas. So the governor of Kansas is a Democrat. She joined the lawsuit to force the government to provide SNAP benefits in November to the citizens of her state. The Attorney General of Kansas filed an amicus brief today within Massachusetts telling the court that the governor, Laura Kelly, does not have the right to file a lawsuit asking for SNAP benefits for the citizens of Kansas.
So has anyone in charge responded? Some states have pushed back, arguing the new cost-sharing rules under this law will force them to pay far more for SNAP than before, which could trigger even deeper cuts down the line. Advocacy groups like the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities have been vocal that these work requirements don't actually increase employment, they just cut people off, and their research backs that up. On the food bank side, organizations are expanding application help and partnering with farmers and retailers to stretch supply further. It's not nothing, but it's also not a fix. Nobody in Washington has reversed the funding cuts, and the people affected know it.
All of these people looked at children and said, "You're not worthy. Starve." How dare they? I want to start by saying something that maybe people did not realize. During the pandemic, we came within striking distance of solving hunger in the United States. We invested in SNAP benefits and universal school meals, and we almost solved food insecurity. And when the pandemic protocols went away, so did that investment. And food insecurity is worse now than it was during or before the pandemic. The money that the federal government has already taken makes the governor's proposal of adding $8 million to the programs at the state level, it makes it flat funding. That's money that's already gone. That's not including the $13 million that the USDA just took from the local food purchase program by canceling that contract with no warning and no explanation. And we do not, at the state level, have the ability to fill that hole. So when my colleagues across the aisle and our friends in Congress talk about personal responsibility, let's talk about their responsibility. They have the responsibility to create legislation and enact legislation that follows science and facts and what we know to be true, which is when you feed people, the cost of healthcare goes down. Kids are able to achieve their full potential. We send less people to prison. When you feed people, it makes our society better. And all of these people looked at children and said, "You're not worthy." Starve. How dare they? Here's what's actually going to happen. Kids are going to go to school hungry and they're going to be at school hungry. And we're going to see an increase in health consequences. We're going to see an increase in the school to prison pipeline. All of that is related to the ability to eat as a child. How can we look at children and people with disabilities and our elderly citizens and say, you don't deserve to eat?
Mr. Speaker, last week I spoke with 160 incredible anti-hunger advocates as part of the 4th Gen Z Food and Hunger Summit. Shocking research from Purdue University shows that nearly 1 in 3 members of Gen Z have experienced food insecurity. 1 in 3. Let that sink in. In fact, many of the young people I met had experienced hunger firsthand. Congress ought to listen to them, and I will continue to amplify and uplift their voices. Gen Z leaders at the summit came together to strategize, holding over 150 congressional meetings to highlight their generation's struggle to afford food. Mr. Speaker, I am so glad the next generation of Americans is impatient and unwilling to wait for a hunger-free future. There's a lot to be discouraged by these days, but the young people I met at the Gen Z Food and Hunger Summit give me hope. I am grateful for their energy, and I'm grateful for their passion in our shared work to end hunger. I urge my Republican colleagues and members of this administration to pay attention to them. We live in the richest country in the history of the world, and we have 50 million Americans who are hungry and food insecure. It is unconscionable, it is shameful, and we can do something about it. I yield back.
I don't know your exact situation watching this, but if grocery prices have felt heavier lately, you're not imagining it, and you're not alone in feeling it. One practical thing worth doing today if you're struggling, or if you know someone who is calling 211. It's a free line that connects you to local food pantries, utility help, and other assistance in your area, and a lot of people don't know it exists. Has your grocery bill changed the way you eat day to day? Have you noticed people around you quietly cutting back? I'd genuinely like to know what you're seeing where you live, and if this is the kind of thing that actually affects your wallet. That's exactly what we cover here at Cost Crisis, so stick around and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.